G'day guys and welcome to ReDriven. Now look, buying a four-wheel drive is a bit more complex than buying a regular car because with the four-wheel drive running gear there's more things that can go wrong. Chances are they've seen a bit more rougher terrain and therefore may have seen a bit more abuse.
So it's critical to make sure the four-wheel drive you're looking at is being well maintained and well cared for. You want to make sure that it's being sold for the right reasons and not because it's got a problem.
So how can you tell if the four-wheel drive you're looking at is the one to get or more importantly the one to avoid? We're about to show you how. First up, you need to find out exactly what the four-wheel drive you're looking at has been through. Ask the owner what the vehicle has been used for. If they mention any off-roading trips, ask how the trip was and what the vehicle is capable of on these trips or in general. Sometimes sellers might try to make out that the vehicle hasn't done a whole lot of off-roading or towing, but get them telling you stories about their adventures and the truth might just slip out.
Make sure you ask why they're selling it. Ask the difficult questions. Has it been in an accident? And does it have any mechanical or electrical issues that they know of? And is it haunted?
And this one might sound a little bit weird and might kind of make you a stalker, but jump on their social media feed and just have a flick through their photos, because even though they may be telling you that their four-wheel drive has done no real off-road work, you might find some photos of it sealing deep in sand on Fraser Island in no time. Ultimately, trust your own instincts. If something seems a bit fishy, chances are it probably is.
A massive red flag is rust. You need to look all around the body shell apertures. Look around the windscreen and the rear window. Look around the door openings and behind the door seals. Have a good look around the bottom of the door itself and around the window frames. Rust in cars is like cockroaches. For every one you can see, there's 1,000 you can't. So if you see any signs of rust at all, just walk away. There's always another car.
While you're looking around the vehicle, check for signs that it's been in an accident or had any panel work done. Check for blemishes or inconsistencies in the paint, and if the paint colour doesn't exactly match between panels. Factory paint is generally pretty much perfect, and even the best panel beaters with the best spray guns will find it really hard to match this. And look for any inconsistencies, because if these things aren't matching, there's a good chance it's had a prang.
Another important place to look is here, the radiator support panel. If there are any creases or marks on that, chances are it's been in a prang. Also, have a good look around here for paint overspray. It's a dead giveaway of a dodgy repair.
Now look, a replaced panel, it's not the end of the world, but has the seller told you about it, or are they trying to hide it?
Next, you have to check the logbooks. Make sure it's got a service history. Look for receipts for those services. Also, look for receipts for other repairs that might have been done as well. Make sure you check the Ks on the car and make sure that matches up with what's in the book and the condition of the car.
A quick telltale sign is the amount of wear on the pedals and driver's seat. If the odometer says, say, 40,000 kilometres, yet the driver's seat is worn and the pedal grip now looks like a slick racing tyre, chances are the seller may not be being all that honest with you. While you're inside, make sure you check all the carpets, sills and lower door cards for any water damage. If you do find water damage, chances are the thing's been for a swim and you need to run away.
Look at the quality of the accessories that have been fitted and more importantly, how well they've been fitted. If there's any dodgy bolts or missing screws, it's a red flag. And the wiring, this is a big one. Four-wheel drive accessories like dual batteries and extra driving lights, for example, require modified wiring of some sort. It should be routed neatly, secured safely and terminated properly. If the aftermarket accessories have been fitted poorly and without any real expertise, it can be unsafe and may be a sign that the owner is happy to take shortcuts.
Next, it's time to get underneath the car to check for signs of abuse, excessive wear, or even worse, if the seller is trying to hide something. And look, we're really lucky we have a hoist here in the workshop, and chances are where you're buying the car won't have a hoist, but trust us, it's totally worth getting down and dirty to see what's going on underneath.
First up, while you're under here, you're looking for fluid leaks basically. Anything from the engine, any oil leaks, any transmission oil leaks or fuel leaks from the fuel lines. Basically anything under here, if it's wet, it's not good. Grab a torch and look for signs of rust and corrosion in hard to reach areas, and look for signs of fresh paint that might be covering up recent repairs. Go over everything under here. Look for scratches and signs of heavy impact. Make sure the front inner guards and under trays are there and not damaged. And while you probably can't jack it up and do a full steering and suspension check, you can still look for damaged mounts and munched out bushes.
And finally, look for any signs of any excess sand or dirt if it hasn't been cleaned properly, because that can lead to corrosion. And if the seller isn't willing to clean it properly, where else are they cutting corners? Next up is the engine, but before we get to that, please do us a favour and like this video. Why not subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell icon to turn on notifications? And hey, why not follow us on all the socials as well? Okay, the engine, and look, if things go wrong here, it could cost you an absolute fortune. So, first things first, go around to the exhaust pipe and get the seller to start the car for you. When they start the car, you're looking for excessive smoke. And look, basically any smoke is bad. Blue, black, white, they all indicate different problems. They all indicate that you should just walk away. A lot of diesel engine issues are far more noticeable on a cold startup and sometimes barely noticeable when the engine is warm. So when you're looking at the car, it might be worth your while to get up early. But here's a tip. If you're there at 7 a.m. and the car is already warm, it might mean that they're trying to hide something, so maybe walk away.
Two areas that can cause major problems and can be hard to diagnose without specialist equipment are the injectors and turbos. Check around the turbo for leaks, and when you take the vehicle for a test drive, again, look for excessive smoke and listen for abnormal turbo noise. Knocking and rattling sounds under load or acceleration can be a sign of worn injectors and other fuel system issues. If you're hearing or seeing anything like this, go and look at the next forward drive. Remember, there's always another car.
Pull out the dipstick and look for signs of milky oil. If it's milky, that could be signs of coolant mixing with the oil, and that could mean a cracked cylinder head. Oil should resemble a short black. If it looks like an iced latte, walk away.
Like with any second-hand car, you want to have a really good look at the engine and in the engine bay. Have a good look at all the fluids, make sure they're full. Get a torch and get right down in there and have a look at the belts, make sure they're okay. Make sure there's no engine oil leaks. They're usually pretty easy to see. Just look right down in there, you can see what's going on. Make sure your coolant is full and make sure it's fresh looking. It should either be green or red in most cases. Have a good look at the battery too. Make sure the terminals are clean with no corrosion. And have a good look at all the lines and hoses, especially around fuel filters. Make sure there's no leaks.
Check and remove the air filter. You're looking for excessive dirt and dust on the clean side of the intake. If it's dirty on what's supposed to be the clean side, it's a good indication that the car's sucked in some dirt and dust, and that can result in some pretty catastrophic internal engine issues. Now, if you've done all that and everything checks out, it's time to investigate the transmission and transfer case. The best way to do that is by taking it for a drive. Make sure it shifts smoothly and accurately and precisely and relatively quickly, and listen out for any weird sounds like whirring or grinding or knocking noises. Make sure you go through every single gear in two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and especially in low-range four-wheel drive. It's critical to make sure it not only goes into gear but also comes out of gear easily. Also, press every single button in the cabin and make sure everything works. Everything from windscreen wipers to accessory buttons to lights, indicators. If it's got a button, push it. Check out the brakes while you're doing the test drive as well. Find a good safe spot to do an emergency stop, and when you jump on the brakes, just check if there's any shudder or if the car pulls to one side or the other. Also, make sure you get enthusiastic with the accelerator on the test drive as well, and listen for any weird engine noises like knocking or grinding or screaming. And finally, just get an overall feel for how it drives. Do you enjoy driving it? Does it feel nice, or does it feel like something's lurking in its past that might come out to bite you? Once that is all done and it's passed your inspection with flying colours, before you buy it, make sure you get it to a qualified mechanic like this guy.
Look, for a relatively low cost, probably a couple $100 or less even, it's worth your while to take it to your local independent workshop guy to get a full check over. He'll check all that stuff and more. He can scan it and make sure there are no ECU faults. It can save you a fortune and a broken heart.
Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we really hope this helps you out when you're buying a four-wheel drive. And hey, look, what's on your four-wheel drive buying guide? Let us know in the comment section below. See you next time.